Happy Tap Talk, everybody. It's the Wednesday of Thanksgiving Eve, Tap Talk edition. Cheers. Welcome to the party. Hopefully, I have two hopes for you right now. One hope is that you have tuned in and you're getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner and you're like, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to enjoy being in my house, have some tasty beer, and geek out with Ian for a little bit. My other hope is that you don't see this until tomorrow or Friday or something like that, because you're out on the town hanging out with friends that you haven't seen in a long time, or family, or perhaps you're having awkward acquaintances with people you went to high school with at the bars. Tonight is a night for that. So, cheers, happy Wednesday. Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, I think makes it in to one of my sneaky favorite evenings of the year. It's just a fun night. I find that it's a good time to go socialize and hang out with people. Hope perhaps with family, or if maybe you're not for me, but maybe you're avoiding family, and we'll see them tomorrow or something. So anyway. I've got some fun beers that I should have done some advanced planning of giving you some recommendations so you could have gotten beer for Thanksgiving for tomorrow. Maybe you were already in and you did, and great, that's good for you. If not, here's some fun things for Thanksgiving and beyond, some good pairings and stuff like that. I may seem slightly tired because we just got done with Harry Potter trivia. Actually, I think I'm still riding the adrenaline rush. We had a lot of, I think the busiest trivia night, maybe it's right up there with one of the busiest that we've had. We had to bring tables in from outside for it. So a really fun crowd, and a lot of good Harry Potter energy. So that was great. So anyway, what have I got? This is a nice aperitif beer, nice friendly starter, easy drinking, refreshing, and delicious, and it's from Belgium. It's also got one of the most fun tap handles. I'm just going to have to bring you over to it. The beer is Blanche de Brussels from the Lefebvre Brewery. And it is famous for referencing the mannequin piss statue in Brussels. And it looks like this. Oh gosh, we're doing the dreaded live camera flip. Woo! All right, there it is. The Blanche de Brussels, the little pissing cherub. This is maybe one of my favorite tap handles of all time. Actually, the one right next to it's a lot of fun though too. From Sociable Cider Works, it's an actual bike pedal. I like that one too. This is a good cider. I don't have it on my list tonight, but you should try it. It's a dry cider. It's not super sweet. It's good. There's my segue. All right, we're switching back. Okay. Yeah, there you go, Jen. High ABV can be the ticket for Thanksgiving. Whether for good or for bad, I don't know. Things can get interesting. That should be the tagline for Thanksgiving. Things could get interesting. Anytime you bring family around, have ample amounts of booze and food, things get interesting. Anyway, this beer, it is a Belgian wit beer. And in case you don't speak Flemish or Belgian, wit is white, or references the color, and also uses wheat in it. It does not taste like piss, actually. It's very good. It's made with a bit of coriander and orange peel. I've been telling people, without trying to be a jerk, that a lot of people are familiar with Blue Moon as a beer. And this is the sort of inspiration for Blue Moon. I've been kind of mean to Blue Moon, so I apologize. They've introduced a lot of people into craft beer, even though they're sort of a large corporate thing. And I would argue that their style of the wheat, Belgian wit, is not a real great representation. It's kind of Americanized, so sweetened up, and kind of the flavors are overhyped, but it's still refreshing. Whatever, you drink it. This is better. Drink this if you get a chance. Blanche de Brussels. You can find it in places like on tap right now, but you can also find it in cans at a lot of good liquor stores. So check it out. Support your local liquor stores. Okay, stepping up to one of, I don't know, outside, like Oktoberfest beers are great and fit the season as good as anything. But this beer might come in pretty darn close in this category. This is our local New Glarus Fat Squirrel, the Fat Squirrel Brown Ale. It's in the upper echelon, the upper crust of seasonally appropriate beers. There's also like the Bell's Best Brown Ale is really excellent. But right now in this kind of late fall transition into wintertime, a nice malty brown ale just fits the bill super well. It's got that toasty, almost chocolatey character that you're looking for. Shut up and drink it, right? And it's just so damn drinkable. It's just, it's one of those beers that's flavorful, but even if you're a person that doesn't often maybe even like beer all that much, or certainly maybe isn't into like darker beers, this is a really good beer to give a try. It's also, it's one that's made in a limited seasonal capacity from New Glarus. It's like a lot of their seasonals only runs for, I think, maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months. So it's chocolatey a little bit, but it's not a heavy beer. It doesn't have a rich body to it. It's very kind of clean and almost refreshing. And if you're looking for a beer that can just fit around the Thanksgiving table, hard-pressed to pick much better beers than things like this. The Fat Squirrel is commonly available here in Wisconsin this time of year, and it's perfect for Thanksgiving. So if you are somewhere where you can get some, grab it. It's great with turkey. It's great with stuffing. It's great with gravy. It's great with potatoes. I mean, it's one of those that just kind of, it covers a lot of the bases because it's got some of those malty toasted notes, but is not overwhelming on your palate. It's you know, I hate to kind of build it up too much, but it's just a really nice all-around beer. It's a beer drinker's beer. It's a great one to have for Thanksgiving. So get you some Fat Squirrel. It's really tasty. All right. Now, another one of my favorite seasonally appropriate beers this comes to us from, it's almost imported American beer because it's coming from way up in the Northwest. Juneau, Alaska. The Alaskan Smoked Porter. I wish, that'll be one of the next things we need to figure out, is how to get smell transmitted across the inner tubes, across the Wi-Fi's. If I could send the smell of this smoked porter to you, I would, but I can't, so you're gonna have to come here and try it yourself. I will never get sick of recommending this beer or talking about it. I do it every year. I have ever since I've been into beer, and it is one that I continue to come back to. And it's a bit of like, if you know, you know kind of thing, because smoked beers tend to be a little hit or miss. You either are really into the smoke flavor or it can be really off-putting. If you're fortunate enough to have your palate where you enjoy smoked beers, or maybe you're kind of on the fence and you'd consider liking them, this is a great one to try. They've been releasing it every year since, I believe, like 1988 or 89. It's won, 4 or 5 gold medals at the Great American Beer Festival, which is probably more than almost any other beer recipe from any brewery, period. It's just dominated the smoked beer category, and I would say is one of these iconic craft beers. It's one that if you had to pick, you know, a top 50 list of craft beers of all time, in my opinion, I would say you'd have to include this beer in there. It's just wonderful. They smoke the malt over alderwood, which, if you're familiar with Alaskan smoked salmon, is tends to be the preferred wood of choice because it has a rich flavor, but it's not really overbearing, and it's got a smoothness about it. I've had some beers where they use oak to smoke the malt, and it has a much more aggressive flavor to it. And this one is it's kind of silky smooth. It also ages really, really well. So a fun thing to do with this beer, if you find it at liquor stores, comes in a 22-ounce bottle, one of the few breweries that's still carrying forward that tradition, which I'm glad for, because this is a nice one to share amongst 2 people. But the smoke in the beer acts as a flavor preservative, so this one can age for a really long period of time. I've had it as old as nearly 20 years old. And the flavor still held up quite well. It's a fun one to buy 2 to 3 bottles of. It's not terribly expensive compared to a lot of beers. I want to say it's $8 or $9. I mean, maybe a little bit more than that now, but buy a couple, drink one fresh, throw one back into a cellar or a place where you can store your beer, or even just the back of the fridge, and then try it again next year, or in a couple years down the road, or for a special occasion. It's a really cool beer. And it comes out every year, usually at the beginning of November. And so this is just a really lovely one, and I bought into it big this year. In the past, I've always just gotten 6 barrels, which if you're unfamiliar with keg sizes, a 6th barrel is a common industry term for a small 5.167 gallon, just over 5 gallon keg, which if you're pouring pints out of it, will get you roughly 35 pints or so. So it doesn't last terribly long. This year I upped it and got a half barrel. So we got a bit more of the smoked porter to enjoy, and for those of you who like it, you're gonna get in on that. Xylus says, yeah, make your gravy with the beer. It's a darn fine choice. Beer cheese soup made with this, also heavenly. It can be a lot maybe to have at the Thanksgiving table depending on your taste preference. Sometimes it can be a little bit over the top, but it can be a nice sort of pre or post meal beer for Thanksgiving. It's a fun one. So anyway, Alaskan smoked porter, super good. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're not going to, because maybe you'll respond in 10 seconds here, but I don't recall if I mentioned New Glarus Serendipity last week. I feel like I did. But if I didn't, New Glarus Serendipity is also out right now, and it's delicious. It's made with cranberry, apple, and cherry. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. Another tasty beer to have for Thanksgiving. Okay, I've gotten to the end. I have one more beer, but I feel like I just rattled off a whole bunch of stuff. So we've got one more beer here. Oh, this one's fun. So you might know Southern Tier Brewing Company. You might know them because they make beers like Pumpkin, Creme Brulee. They have a whole series of 2X beers, 2X IPA, 2Xmas, 2X something else. They have a whole series of, they're known for their stronger flavored beers. This is their newest one. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if it's their newest one, but it's newer within the last year or two. And it's the Frosted Sugar Cookie beer. So we're now, I don't want to push the envelope too much, but it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, which means Christmas is right around the corner, and there's been snow all over the place, so what the hell, let's get into it. This is my first time having it on tap. I mean, obviously we had it earlier tonight, but as far as the Whistle Punk, this is our first time having this keg. It falls in the sort of Blackwater series. Well, maybe it doesn't fall in the Blackwater series. There's a series of strong flavored ales that Southern Tier from upstate New York makes, and this one is kind of their holiday inspired ale. It's 8.6%, like a lot of their strong beers are, very specific percentage to make all their beers, but it's designed to taste like a sugar cookie. So it uses vanilla in it, it uses lactose or milk sugar to add a sweetness to the beer that regular sugar wouldn't otherwise do. If you're unfamiliar with that, if you add sugar to a beer, yeast is going to gobble it up, and instead of having sweetness in the beer, you're just going to have more alcohol content. Whereas if you add lactose sugar, yeast don't process lactose, so it just remains in the beer, not only as sweetness, but as a little bit of a smoothness and a body to the beer. So this one's kind of a crazy beer. We were kind of pondering over it tonight, and I'll be damned if it doesn't smell like sugar cookie dough and taste pretty much like that. It's one I think that's going to kind of mess with your mind, and it's a lot of fun. And this is kicking off officially our kind of holiday beers for the season. Ooh, I've got another one I'm going to mention. I don't care. I'll probably mention it again, but I'm going to grab it. I'm going to try not to trip over anything. Oh, look at that. I didn't even trip. I smashed my knee earlier today into the corner of our door frame at home at like sort of surprising amount of power that I smashed my kneecap into the corner of the wood. And I wasn't even swearing. It hurt enough that it wasn't even, often if you smash your finger or do something like that, depending on your personality, there could be a slew of swear words or things like that. This was just like, it was just that kind of like pain where you're gasping for air and just like dropped all my stuff on the floor. And for no reason. Like I don't know. It was also dumb. If you ever smash your knee or elbow into something where you're just like, you're hurting but also angry at yourself for doing it. Anyway, I don't know why I brought that up. I was just glad I didn't trip over the cord for the on-air sign. I will eventually and probably break it and hurt myself. But until then, we have a delicious pumpkin holiday beer. No pumpkin in it, but it's from our friends at Jolly Pumpkin, and it's their Noel. This is a spiced Belgian-style sour strong ale, and maybe you can read the alcohol content on that at 9%. So this is a heavy hitter. We have a limited amount of cans of it in stock, and this would be a fun stocking stuffer for the person in your life who likes sour beers or Belgian-style beers, or who just likes fun and interesting beers. We've got some of this in stock. It's very tasty. I love it. I will mention it again before Christmas, so don't worry if you forget about it now, but I'm just kind of laying that out there. So, Jolly Pumpkin, Noel, yum. All right, folks, that's what I got. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving here in the North Woods. We had a nice little sunny day, nearly 50 degrees. It was pretty cool. And I want to give thanks. You've reached the point in my ramblings now where I've done talking about the beer, and I get to wax poetic for a minute. I want to just take a brief moment for however many people catch this to give thanks, of course, for my family, for all that I have personally, but I'm giving thanks more on a scale from the Whistlepunk. We hosted, like I had mentioned earlier, Harry Potter trivia tonight, and doing all these different events that we've done and bringing all the different people that we have kind of brought into our space over the time that we've been here. It's we kind of get used to it, I guess, a little bit, but it still sort of boggles my mind how amazing all of you are. It's supposing you're watching this because you've been here at some point, or at least you support us in some way. And so thank you. Simply thank you for ever coming in here, or for showing us some love, whether you've even spent $1 in our door or whether you're here almost every day. We really are very grateful. I don't take it for granted that people just show up, although there are times where you get busy or it feels like work for a moment, or you're kind of in a moment where all of a sudden you kind of get caught up in the nuts and bolts, and maybe the warm fuzzies aren't always right at the forefront, but they're not far under the surface. At least for me, I can speak very much to that. The warmth and positivity and the goodness that I see in people. I think if you look around on the various ways that the world reflects back at us, whether it's TV or whether it's social media or any other number of things, it can be pretty easy to just see the ways, the hard things, the ways in which our various parts of society seem hard or failing, or there's never a shortage of things to kind of feel bummed out about. And it's worth noting those things. But what we get to see here is that the reality, I think, for a lot of the situations, is that world that we're having reflected back, that we often maybe see as seeing someone as being different or wrong or bad to us, at least in here, we get to see that that's not real. We're actually all here to enjoy the same things, and our little tiny slice of the pie is small, and maybe doesn't represent everybody, but we try to. But I think that's magic. What we get to see here is people who I'll see at the bar, who I know that if we were to discuss politics or, I don't know, various other things, that we would maybe find that they would be on very different ends of the spectrum, or that maybe be even very much at odds. And yet here we are they'll be having a laugh together, sharing conversation, sharing their lives, talking about their families, talking about their jobs, what they do, the beers they enjoy, the coffee they like, movies they've seen, sharing interests, because really we're all on the same team. And it may not always seem like it, and it certainly gets projected that we're not a lot, but we are. And if you need proof of that, come down to the Whistlepunk anytime. All right, hopefully that wasn't too sentimental and sappy for you, but I really am grateful for all of your support, but also for coming here, and when you're here, just showing that there's good in the world, there's positivity in the world, and I'm just thankful. So hopefully that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you have some great time with family. If you're not able to get together with your family, I hope that you can find some joy embracing, spending a day with yourself, with some friends, with some loved ones, maybe in nature, however it may be. I hope that there are things that you are able to be thankful for tomorrow. And if you find yourself needing a meal and you don't have one already set up, I can tell you a couple of places for sure. Go to Round Man and Spooner. They're putting on a Thanksgiving Day dinner, and I know lots of other places are, and I'm only going to mention this just because I was there the other day. The Hayward Family Restaurant is serving up Thanksgiving dinner as well. So if you find yourself in between without a meal, go check out those couple places. Have some good beer, have some good times, and we'll check in again with you next week. All right? Take care.